Hi, Roy Hall here with Mountain Health Functional Medicine. We get a lot of people asking us, where do we get our stem cells from? And we even have a few saying that we're killing babies, and they call us baby killers on Facebook. And what I want to do, this is just part of one of our series on regenerative mini medicine. Hi, Roy Hall here with Mountain Health Functional Medicine. This is one of our series in our regenerative medicine mini series on helping you to understand what's happening in the world of regenerative medicine. And today what I want to cover is the source of our stem cells. A lot of people ask us, where do we get our stem cells? Where can you get your stem cells? And then we even have a few that accuse us of killing babies for our stem cells. And there's nothing further than the truth in this statement right there. Stem cells got a bad rap back in the 1990s because, yes, they were obtained from aborted fetuses. Well, folks, over the last 20 years, those practices are outlawed in this country, the United States. We cannot get our stem cells from aborted fetuses. So stop accusing us of killing babies, because that does not happen. It's illegal. It doesn't happen. It's illegal. So anyway, where can we get our stem cells? Well, basically, there's two sources of stem cells. One is from you or me, the patient, using our own stem cells, or it's from somebody else donating the stem cells for us to use. The first is called autologous stem cells. That's where it's from me or you, the patient, given back to me or you. The other is allogeneic. Two fancy words, but anyway, when we get stem cells from the patient to give back to the patient, we really have two sources of getting these stem cells. One, it's from the bone marrow, and what we end up doing is sticking a needle, it's into your tailbone posteriorly, and drawing out the blood that has stem cells in it, and blood cells are discarded, the stem cells are harvested and given back to you, the person, the patient. Or we can stick a needle in the fatty tissue, usually on the belly, because that's where a lot of us have fat, suck that fluid out, harvest the stem cells from that fat collection, and then give the stem cells back to the person. Now, I was a medical oncologist for 32 years. I did chemotherapy and treated a lot of people with lymphoma, leukemia, Hodgkin's, even breast cancers, lung cancers. We were doing bone marrow transplants for. And all those patients, we did bone marrow aspirates, and I promise you, nobody ever volunteered to have one of those done a second time because they hurt like the devil. You can numb up the skin, but you can't numb up the bone, and when you go through that bone, it hurts, and then when you suck the fluid out, it hurts even more. And what I did the last 15, 20 years is I put all my folks to sleep so they wouldn't feel that agonizing pain. But the trouble with the approach of using bone marrow stem cells from bone marrow or stem cells from fat is the older we get, the fewer stem cells we have. And what happens is most people who need stem cells for pain issues, they're not spring chickens, they're older people, they're middle-aged people and older. I'm 66 now, and the studies show it's about 1 out of 1 million cells in my body is a stem cell. And the place where we get the most stem cells is going back to the youngest person, going back to birth, because that's as far back as we can go to collect these stem cells is birth. And kids have a lot of stem cells, and we start losing a lot of our own stem cells at around age 20, and that's why kids heal up so much faster than big people when they break a bone, get in a car wreck, have a bad infection, because they have a lot of stem cells involved. So we go back to the earliest process to get stem cells. There's two sources that we gather those right now. One is amniotic stem cells, the other is umbilical cord stem cells. And if you'll remember, the baby or the fetus in utero, still in mom, is here, and it's covered by a sac, and in that sac is the amniotic fluid. What ends up happening for amniotic stem cells is just at the time of birth, and it's a C-section birth, they go in, they do amniocentesis, they stick a needle into that sac, draw out that fluid, and separate the cells in there, and in that fluid are a lot of stem cells. But there's also a lot of other cells that can cause reactions down the road. There's some cells in there that have an HLA antigen, and these are the antigens that cause tissues to be rejected. And so when amniotic stem cells are being used, there is a risk for rejection. Now again, these cells are obtained at C-section. Has to be a planned C-section. It can't be an unplanned C-section because they have to have time to test mom to make sure she's healthy, free of any communicable diseases, and to test the baby in utero to make sure the baby's healthy. If so, the cells are collected, and then there's more testing done on mom post-delivery, more testing done on baby post-delivery to be sure everybody's healthy. Those cells are frozen when harvested, and it cannot be an unplanned C-section because you haven't had time to test in the body, and it can't be a vaginal birth because with vaginal births, you don't know when you're going to be born. Is it going to be in the next hour, later tonight, tomorrow, next week, or 2 weeks down the road? So planned C-sections. The other place to get to get stem cells from that's really, really good is umbilical cord. And again, just like the amniotic stem cells, it's at a planned C-section for the same rationale. Test mom, test baby, make sure everything's set. But at C-section planned birth, the umbilical cord is harvested, and inside that umbilical cord is the stem cells. And the nice thing about that approach is there's none of those HLA antigens in that mess, I shouldn't say mess, in that soup that we use that would cause a tissue rejection. And that's where we get our stem cells from in our clinic. And that's what's, I think probably most of the really good clinics in this country are doing are umbilical cord stem cells. So, no ethical concerns. They're not from aborted babies. Don't worry about that. It's coming from a source, the umbilical cord, that mom has donated. And it's a volunteer donation, and overseeing the whole process is the American Association of Tissue Banks. These are the same people that make sure the corneal transplants are safe, make sure the lung transplants are safe, make sure heart transplants are safe, liver transplants are safe. That's the same governing board that oversees our stem cell collection and administration back to the patient, you, to get well and better. So I hope this helped. Hope you feel more comfortable about the stem cells. I've been practicing now 40 years in medicine, chemotherapy, oncology for 32 years. I promise this regenerative medicine using stem cells, growth factors, is the most powerful thing I've seen in 40 years in terms of getting people well, resolving their problems with the least amount of side effects, and most importantly, or as importantly, less costly than so much else that we do for people. So, hey, give us a holler. We want to help you feeling better. Thank you. Have a good day.